Alright, so everyone, I am going to do a power scaling video of my characters along with some of my friends' characters that were in the book of the Ascendant Force. So like my Greek friend, Hulk Solo's Fiction. So, and even, well, it's not his character. I created it, but I asked him like what does he want on the character, but Danny's character also. So, there we go. So I am going to start with my main character, aka Aiden. Yes, he has the same name as me. So Aiden and his twin sister and their 4-month younger nephew got kidnapped as they were babies by Malvora after they killed the rest of the family. So they got each abilities from this thing that's based on compound V from, the boys, name Serum M. So it gives them at least infinite power. So let me just put this up. So Aiden gets the ability to not only just has adaptation, but he grows stronger, faster, more resilient, etc. He has no limits. AKA it's reactive evolution and accelerate development. And he has gained powers like the Man of Steel himself. So you could just check on what Superman has in the comics. Would it be to the same extent? Maybe. Well, it definitely has a better chance of being better than Superman's because he has no limits, while Superman kind of relies on solar energy. But Aiden, he doesn't need to rely on solar energy. So there's that. Now on to Aiden's twin sister, Ava. Now, she also gains infinite power. Well, all of them do. And, hold on just a second. Never fucking mind. Because I remember posting it on one of my accounts. Saying, like, fun fact, people with Serum M gains infinite power. And some even, like, on a faster pace based on species. And what they are. And what's their intentions and stuff. So, I'm just letting you know. It's out there. It's on TikTok, but I'm not making it up. So Ava gets her incredible strength, speed, and durability, etc. But like her brother, she is limitless. Yes, you can read the pictures. Damien, their nephew, who's just only 4 months younger. So Damien also is limitless, but he has different ways of doing it. I mean, he gets stronger, etc., but it's not at a pace like Aiden or Ava's. He's still very dangerous. Here's why. He could create weapons and tools and even complex structures from his very flesh, like a certain heroine from an anime about kids going to hero school. I think if we know the anime, we know. But I mean, I'm gonna show her anyways, so we have an idea what it's like. Now on to the Watson twins, Andrew and Sophia. So their ability is they can adapt and evolve, and they also gain like amphibian and reptile-like abilities. So they're mostly based on like Darwin from the X-Men and Doomsday. Just the only difference is that they're limitless, right? They're mostly based on like adaptation. So their adaptation and like evolution, etc., like accelerate development, emotional power is much more. It's more potent than, and it's much more better than Ava, Aiden, Damien, and other people with Serum M. Just letting you know. And just like the others with Serum M, they also are immortal. I'll tell you how busted that is as we go into future chapters. Like, I'm going by each chapter, or at least what significant feats and what's important about the powers of them. So it might take a while. So I might even upload on YouTube. So there's that. Now I guess I'm mostly done with the abilities that you will usually see in the book. Even though they have other hexes that's not super mentionable or stuff like that, I'll still mention it. Okay, because I'm gonna be cropping the pages and stuff. So now we got to some good stuff, like power scaling. Now, what do I mean? So this is after Aiden, as an infant, somehow escaped Malvora, and how? Well, he just was curious and he, phased, like how Flash does. He can phase through things. So he phased out of the, Malvora, and now he just went on to Alaska and found, a young married couple, Sarah and David. So, and we're actually working for this thing that's kind of based on like Stark Industries called William Industries. So there's that. And, the founder of the, William Industry has a child named Joshua. But let me just explain this, what you're seeing right now. So Marvin, the father and of Joshua and the founder of the William Industries, decided to do some tests on Aiden because, Aiden just appeared right in front of Sarah and David, so they had to, study him because they were confused. They're not bad people, don't worry. If you read the Ascendant Force, they're very good people. So they were just testing on him and checking what and how Aiden got powers or what he does, as you see in the book or like the cropped pictures. So it's said that that Aiden, as an infant, like just a 1-year-old, can withstand extreme forces, like the energy of multiple SAR bomba explosions. Those bombs, right? Have you ever heard of a SAR bomba? So, a one SAR bomba it has a yield of 15 megatons of TNT. And it's stated in the book that Aiden, as an infant, can survive multiple. So it depends how many. Like, you can assume, like, it's, like, 5 or 10. That's what I'm going to assume. I'm not going to say, like, fucking thousands. It says rather being deemed damaged, he would just absorb the energy itself. So, it's crazy. The fact that it's, like, at least a 15 megaton of TNT, do you know what that scales? That scales to city level, as it's between 6.3 megatons to 100 megatons of TNT. So, and Aiden's stated to, survive and absorb most, or like a couple of these SAR bomba explosions. So you could say he's like mountain level. If it depends if it's like 15 or 10, it could be, he can be mountain level to maybe large mountain level. I could be wrong, but I think it's definitely in the mountain ranges. So he's actually stronger than fucking Homelander. So Marvin was very intrigued that he found out about this. So he decided to take a step further. So he used this powerful and rare metal that only Marvin has, called aluminium. And basically, it's based on nth metal from DC, and I guess vibranium and other things. Kinda. I mostly based it on nth metal, and from what I've heard from Zed the Undead. Now, if you wanna, don't agree with this or not, because it's kind of not really a good comic scaler in terms of like Superman one shots Hulk, but that's not true at all. But it's mostly based on what I'm hearing from Zed the Undead about nth metal, which literally you could say it's just like nth metal, as it can ignore and bypass magic, anti-magic, regeneration, durability, and it's more like a material to experiment on like beings like Aiden. And as where Marvin explains, its molecular structure can adapt, morphing as needed. When you hold it in, it can be shaped any way you desire. It can absorb and disrupt energy, resist magnetic forces, and manipulate those same forces for defensive and offensive purposes. And if needed, it can even cut through the concepts of time and space. So, they're using it to contain Aiden for a little bit. Obviously, Aiden has adaptation, but they're just using one of the most powerful metals you could possibly ever hear. So I'm now on to 13 years later, after Sarah and David decided to take care of Aiden, as Aiden is a baby and was innocent. So now Aiden in the story and is currently 13 years old. So Aiden is pretending to be normal, like how everyone with superpowers should be, unless you want it to be known. But kind of similar to like Superman Invincible, he's pretending to be a normal guy. So Aiden was just watching wrestling videos, just wasn't just for learning. I mean, Aiden already knows as he worked with Joshua, who knows every martial arts in the world, because both him and Joshua can think fast. I mean, Aiden can be thinking much faster because of his adaptation and all. So they basically like fucking Yujiro Hanma, a technique that they don't see, they will just master it like that, even faster than a snap. So Aiden was just watching this just for fun. As you can see, there wasn't anything these wrestlers could show him that he wouldn't know or couldn't just already perform 1,000 times better. It was just more of study and just see techniques far below his level. To Aiden, wrestling was just a study in movement, a challenge in its simplicity. He observed the form and timing, noting weaknesses and small human errors no one else would not. So, there's that. Now we come on to Joshua, who is, like a brother to Aiden. Joshua just returned from working on his suit, a technology advanced masterpiece known as Luminium suit. I already explained what Luminium is. So basically all the hacks and how powerful it can be should scale to Joshua. Sorry about the little sigh. My mother was calling me while I was explaining, so I was a little bit annoyed, but I didn't complain to her at all. She was just telling me something that we needed to go to, but that's fine because I can fucking edit this video. But you should know that the amount of Luminium suit, the Luminium that Marvin, Joshua's father, used on him isn't as big or as complex as Joshua's suit now, because they expanded and used Luminium in a variety of different ways, so it got stronger and adapted. So he was just working on Luminium suit. And he is able to think fast and create things very fast with his hands. He just studies and works on Luminium suit so it can be better and better to, catch up with Aiden, because he's always getting stronger at least 10 times. But you could say even more because he's a good person and he trains too. So basically he just comes in. And despite his youthful appearance and easygoing demeanor, Joshua is far from ordinary. Intense training, countless battles, and relentless drive that honed his ability and mind to levels that defied human limits. So he's way stronger than IRL humans. So stronger than Eddie Hall, Tom Stoltman, and the Stoltman brothers, and other powerful humans to this day. So as you can see, they basically went through battles together. So they are very experienced. So they're not just unexperienced like fucking Homelander or Brightburn or Titan or maybe even Metro Man. I mean, he's been fighting the same dude, Megamind. But, I'm not going to compare it to other Superman type characters, even though Aiden should be way stronger than them. But basically, they have shared battles, quiet nights, and loyalty. So they're best friends, or brothers, you could say. Now, here's something important. If you see right there, Joshua was working on this workout and this new technique called Celestial Token. And yes, it is heavily based on Kaioken, Goku's Kaioken. So just think of the similar properties. So, but there's more than that. As Joshua explains, it's like I'm a universe in human form. It boosts my strength, speed, agility, and stamina to levels that's honestly unpredictable. There's more to it than just raw power. Forgive my mother's voice being heard. Like I was saying, it's more than just physical power. It's, let me just try to look for it. The technique also gives me what I call cosmic resilience. It's like a protective aura, like an armor, that makes me nearly impervious to harm, and that is temporal awareness. So, Temporal awareness is a ability to perceive and react to events with high precision. Of course, Aiden makes a joke that he's autistic and not stupid. It's a little joke, but Joshua can maintain it for 3 hours. He's trying to push the limit to go for hours to days, to even years. He asks Aiden if he wants to try the Celestial Token, but Aiden says no, because he's already all infinite power already. So now on to the second chapter. Yes, 15 minutes and a half was just the first chapter. My gosh, it's going to be a long video, but if you guys are interested, well, I'm glad this is a long video. So the second part, or the first feat of chapter 2, it doesn't really scale to, Aiden and Joshua can replicate this feat, but let me just explain. So there was a force behind this earthquake caused by someone, not by Aiden or Joshua, but it's equivalent to 60 gigatons of TNT. So it's in those island level ranges, it was 60 gigatons, so it's not 100, but it's definitely not the lowest, so it's around those island level ranges. Obviously, Aiden and Joshua should scale to this, because if you read more of this chapter, Aiden says momentarily distracted. Yeah, but nothing compared to that evil Siren Queen we dealt with a while back. She hit us with an 18.35 Yodafel amount of energy. Now, this is going to be a crazy shock to you guys, because this is absolutely insane work here. As well, every mythology exists in the story. So Cthulhu, Greek, so that's why you're going to hear a lot of mythological monsters and legends and gods and goddesses and devils and other stuff. Of course, there are going to be make-up mythologies. I'm not just using like pre-existent mythologies. There's going to be more characters that's not by mythos but by me. So let me just say, where does Yodafo's amount of energy scale? Well, yeah, it's definitely in those the multi-galaxy ranges, which is absolutely shocking, right, guys? And it's so funny, because that was years ago, and look what Aiden said. You were just testing your strength, and you still won. And Joshua said, that was like 3 years ago. I've grown a lot stronger since then. And now to the speed part. So it's stated that Aiden went into superhuman speeds. Now, here's the thing, right? He's just running at those speeds, but his combat and reaction time, and he was just trying to, catch up to him. Does anyone else see Aiden and Joshua running at those speeds? Fuck no. So they don't even know who they just assume it was probably a monster or something just dashed by, or someone being hallucinating. You get the gist, right? And so they went to superhuman speeds, and well, they view something very crazy. It's not super crazy to them, but it's something crazy for us. So there was this folk person, and they opened a portal that seemed to tear through the fabric of reality, right? And he got a barrier around it after he escaped, so Aiden and Joshua couldn't come in. Well, that's what the fox folk thought. Now, this is going to be crazy because where the fox folk entered is something called as ethereal nexus. It's a domain covered by elemental, interdimensional, and primordial energies with its own unique rules and time flow. The barriers between realities here are malleable, shaped by intent and emotion. This was explained by Joshua's version of Jarvis, aka Carson. And so there was a holographic display materialized from Joshua's suit, showing layered dimensions and energy flows. Among the various planes, one particular realm stood out, a village populated by foxfolk, illuminated by 3 massive stars that dwarfed the Earth's sun. So Before Carson completed analysis, Aiden's patience ran out. With a frustration grunt, he pulled out his fist and struck the dimensional barrier. Now here was the thing. The impact released thunderous boom that echoed through both realities. Now this is crazy because it's an interdimensional, like, multiverse, you know? You get what I mean? The barrier shattered like glass, and, everything just shook. Aiden winced as he heard the distant sound of falling debris. And Aiden didn't mean that. He just wanted to punch, get it over with. So they met this girl named Violet, the blue fox, and, Aiden was talking and saying hello, being friendly, until there was a massive foxman with fur like burnished copper and eyes that seemed like molten gold. Clearly Violet's father and the king of the realm. Now, here's the thing, right? They all felt this multiversal shake. And so the guy, the massive, the king of the world, name, I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember its name. It's been a while since I have, sorry, it's taking this for a while because I'm reading through this. I think it was, I could be wrong. Embera, I'm sorry, Embera. Embera is the king, and, and who's the red fox that you're seeing right now? It's, that's Violet's twin sister named, Rose. Yeah. So, Embera sees the two as a threat because Aiden, blatantly admitted he was the one that caused the multiversal shake. So even though he said it was on accident, Embera didn't hear that because he's kind of fucking stubborn. So he says he was born from the heart of a volcano and decided to attack them. And Aiden's just been mostly shrugging it off. Joshua struggles a little bit, but he's mostly dodging them, and it's helping because he has the aluminium suit. No, he is not in his Celeste token state. Now to chapter 3. What happened in chapter 2? Violet and Rose asked their parents if they were allowed to go to the universe because they solved the conflict. And and they said yes because Violet and Rose and other people have the ability to pretend to be humans, or to disguise themselves as anything they can be. And why did the other fox folk not do that? Because he's kind of a relic, he's being a dumbass. So if they didn't do that, Aiden probably wouldn't have followed them. But kind of glad he didn't do that. Or at least Aiden is glad. So this isn't really, I guess it's a feat. I'm mentioning hacks and stuff. So Violet used her powers and it sends a blue mist out of her palm. And what it does is it fixes everything. As you can see, her blue mist is going around the world. And yes, even the universe, but it's more focused on Earth because that's where they live. And it's fixing the entire universe because it's being, destroyed and affected because it was just destroyed and affected by Aiden's, multiversal clash. So she was basically fixing what Aiden broke. That's kind of pretty much it from there. So, yeah. I am going to say this. It makes everything better. So no more global warmings, no hunger. Everything is rebuilt but better. But there was only one kaiju. One creature who isn't affected by this because he was already part of Earth. He is Gaia's son. Nope, it isn't the ones that we're all used to in the actual Greek mythologies. All the Greek mythos and stories exist, but as they are all written technically, but they haven't written about this one because Gaia, even though she loves him, she knows he's dangerous, but she also knows that this son is very good. He's equal. Good and evil. Uranus isn't So happy about him. He's so scared of this creature. You're probably wondering who I'm talking about. Taragoth, the Earth Shaker Titan, the only one of the kind. But I am not going to explain him right now. He'll be explained later on. Don't worry. I'm not going to skip him. Now to this, which is quite crazy, really. So Aiden admits in guilt that he accidentally shook the multiverse. Now they don't know exactly everything, but they're trying to study the cosmos, everything, beyond the universe. But the funny thing is, Joshua says more like infinite versal, which is depends how you scale that, but I mean you should assume it's like an infinite multiverse, right? So every universe is possibilities, etc. So basically, they just telling him that Aiden needs to train more on his control of power than ever before. So just nothing too crazy about it. So there's a feat, kind of the maybe cosmos thing. There's infinite multiverses. So not just a multiverse infinite size, but there's infinite amounts of those multiverses. There's also metaverses. Depends where you scale metaverses. Metafictional universes. So like, things that they see as fictional, they actually do exist, but in another universe. And, so on and so forth, right? So Aiden's just not wanting to destroy everything. He doesn't want, problems with, other protectors of other universes. So Violet understands, right? And even offers to help. She says that she trained with the Monkey King himself. If we not know who the Monkey King is, that's Sun Wukong, from the Journey to the West. Like I said, everything mythology is canon. This is still part of chapter 4, just it takes in a different place while Violet and Aiden were training to help Aiden control his power. So while in London, Andrew was minding his own business, right? Until he meets a foe. Someone from the past. Victor Ignitus. And what he was doing was he wants revenge. So he had to be amped up by multiple serum M's. So he should be logically much stronger, right? Now, here's the thing. Andrew's power, like I told you, they all have emotional power, but since Josh, Andrew, and Sophia are kind of the oldest and kind of more mature. Not that mature, but they are mature, but they're more experienced. They have more power, and or at least Andrew does. Sophia's kind of a, she's nice, but she's still strong. So there's that. So basically, Victor Ignitus wants to, kill Victor. Wait, did I say that wrong? I'm sorry. Victor wants to end Andrew, okay? Wants revenge. But Andrew's not going to stand down. He is going to give him a good fight. Now, I bet you guys wanting to hear a fight scene or see it, well, there's a good one. And here it is. So, Victor had gained the power of fire, and it's not normal fire. It's like divine. It's stronger than normal fire. I'm just going to tell you that. But Andrew was much more faster, so in a blur, he leaped through the air, and his fist connected with Victor's face with such force that he was sent hurtling through the air, vanishing into the horizon within seconds. So pretty much, he punched him so hard that Victor just went sent flying very fast. And Andrew is kind of laughed, is kind of mocking. He's not being threatened or in power. He knows that Victor's a threat, but not to him, at least. And I think one of my friends is going to be excited. I'm going to add the scene anyway because he is kind of important later on. So Danny stumbled upon the Serum M potion that fell out of Victor Ignitus's attire or clothes. And so Danny and his loyal ram, Tam, is, curious and took a try of it. So basically, they got Serum M. So, AKA, they got powers. They're not going to be shown in this chapter, or they are shown, but they're not going to fight. But at some point, they will. And you'll see, you're just going to take a little bit of while. So at the crater where Victor landed after Andrew's punch, he was very battered. His suit was torn, his blood dripped from his mouth, but Victor did not give up. Andrew appeared again, standing over him like a shadow. And he just suddenly put a devastating knee to Victor's stomach. And Victor was sent flying from it and was still damaged. And Victor's determination made him got up, and he was going to use some of his powers. Andrew was, barely flinched from this, but he was irritated. He even kind of shouts sarcastically about their amphibians, frogs are around here. But Victor said he doesn't even care. And he lunged at Andrew, but the boy was too fast. Andrew sideswiped it, grabbing Victor by the ankle and slammed it to the ground repeatedly. So basically like this.
Will not be bullied by that.
It's quite literally that. And so Andrew was not even having a hard time. He was just toying with Victor. It was not even fair at all. I'm trying to describe a scene, but I can't think of any. It's so bad. And the only thing I could think of is how Superman literally just beat the hell out of Steppenwolf in a Justice League movie. The times. So basically,
Fortnite balls in your face.
Oh, I just fucking got that, I was saying that fucking Victor exploded. Pause.
Fortnite balls.
And it sent Andrew, Damien, and Sophia, and Ava, all the way from fucking London to Nebraska. And I know I said Alaska, but I meant Nebraska, so forgive me, guys. But basically, let me fucking get my stuff, Damien. They just got sent through there. And it's said to be supposed to destroy oh shit. I forgot to add that then, I guess. I was gonna say, I had this I had to make it longer, and so I asked some websites to just make it longer, more detailed. But apparently originally it was saying it's so powerful it could literally wipe out and destroy the Pacific Ocean. I think it's supposed to wipe out large majority of ocean water. So so that. But basically it was very, very destructive. But what Andrew did is he lifted Victor up to the air.
You can finish it for now.
I'm okay. Hold on. I'm trying to fucking say that I'm gonna be finished, at least for this part of section, because.
I was just gonna say I can hop on my VR and it's ready.
So back to the part. They went up almost to the orbit. Victor explodes, and the four just gets sent. So Andrew, Sophia, Damien, and Ava just were sent to Nebraska, like I said earlier. So now they're in Nebraska. Well, this is a little small feat. Andrew can literally snap his fingers, and it can generate a shockwave that would send everyone except Damien, Ava, and Sophia flying. Damien, Ava, and Sophia can literally move and react very fast to catch the falling civilians. And Sophia just got so angry at Andrew. And Andrew literally said that they would be atomized if anything hit them. But just letting you know about that. So in chapter 6, Violet and Aiden was mostly been hanging around, as Aiden is just showing, Violet in her human form, how how they live and stuff. It's completely different from how Violet lives, but I'm not gonna go into detail yet. But there's infinite atoms of the multiverse, so that's a big part. And basically, stories, like fictional stories, can exist in all of the atoms, so there's kind of that, so that's part of the cosmos. And obviously the multiverse that Violet's from is completely above the multiverse that Aiden is from. So yeah. And so there is this enemy, right? I think I already know who it is, but we'll get into the enemy right now. Not the name, but we're going to be talking about him, because this is kind of pretty much something that we all need to think about. So this enemy that Violet is talking about, so strong that it could take all the gods on. And what she means by all is all the mythology. The only god who wasn't there was Yahweh, from the Bible, because why not? Because why does he? He knows that the gods, the Greek, the Norse, the Chinese, the Egyptian, the Cthulhu, all of those mythology legends fought this one enemy. And even though it was in victory, the cost was still pretty bad. They had to retreat to, make their own multiverse, basically. So to get away from the Earth, they're from there's infinite mythologies, right? And there's infinite universes, so they all have their own Greek, Zeus, Thor, all that. But just that's part of it. But I mean, this one enemy was so strong that even after he lost, the gods were kind of worried and afraid. So this is kind of important later. So there's these married couple that works at the William Industries, hold on. Hiroshi Yamasaki and Aiko Yamasaki. They've known Aiden for a little while, as they helped Sarah and David when they first worked at Aluminium. Obviously, that was before they met the infant Aiden. Just letting you know. So they were doing the work because they have to study and track Terragoth. I mentioned him earlier, didn't I? It's a remarkable specimen, 550 feet of pure prehistoric power. Apparently Violet has learned such legends based on her realm and creatures of this size. And, Terragoth is a bridge between myth and science. A primordial creature that recently awoke after a million years of dormancy, only to be altered by nuclear testing in the Pacific. Now, obviously, you know what this is based on, but more specifically, Terragoth is based on Marvel Godzilla, or specifically the 1977. And obviously, this is before we got announcements of the new Marvel Godzilla, and very happy. And hopefully they do more in the future. I really, really hope and pray. We're getting a lot of Godzilla crossovers recently. So he's mostly based on Marvel Godzilla. So he's kind of going to give you a similar vibe, and I'll explain why. Like I said, it's going to be some references to the 1977 run, as it said, Terragoth is devastating the Brooklyn Bridge, and there's heroes and vigilantes trying to stop it. Obviously, it's similar to Marvel Godzilla's issue 3, where Godzilla was attacking the Brooklyn Bridge, and Hercules and the others tried to stop him, but they kind of failed along with Shield. So it's similar to this. And as you see on like the last paragraph of the image, he is currently on an island full of experiment monsters made by some crazy scientists. Obviously, that's based on Dr. Demonicus' first appearance, where he was generating monsters with some light with this stone called the Life Stone. So it's not exactly going the same way, but it's gonna have some references, like I told you before. They called Aiden the Earth's strongest defender, but Aiden still is troubled. He would say that he would fight him, but it wouldn't be as straightforward as usual battles. And it's saying something because Hiroshi said that Aiden has fought creatures of all sizes before with remarkable ease, but Taragoth is completely different. And, well, the Japanese couple are a little bit troubled, but, they still have competence for Aiden, so they left, to study Taragoth. Violet asked if she sensed power, something older than his age. And Aiden literally said, "There's power and then there's power." Taragoth feels like the second kind, forgive me. So later on in this chapter, Aiden, Violet, Joshua, and Rose were talking. Aiden keeps explaining that he gets a strange, flashback from his past, and is worried about the others as, Malfoy kidnaps young people, like infancy or children, because basically they'll be more hardened if they train them at a young age with Serum M. So that's why they basically have more of a chance of being stronger than if you just grabbed an old man and being trained, because they'll be more resistant. So that was the intention of Malvora. Aiden doesn't like it and didn't think clearly and just, he flew out of the window, but he can fly. Now, here's the notable thing, that he was from Nebraska. So, and it says Aiden flew in the air so fast he's in California now. And we can assume he's at least 15 seconds. It's definitely not a minute. That's how I'm picturing it. You could say it's a minute, but let's just say it was a minute and the calculations. So if I average distance from central Nebraska to California coast, it would be 2,000 kilometers, or approximately 1,242 miles, right? I'm not even gonna say the fucking whole thing. You could just take a look at that for yourselves. Let me know if this is accurate. I tried and I used multiple sources and look at the speed tiers and stuff. So just let me know if I'm correct, please. Please. From what I've seen, it looks fine. So he's at least high hypersonic plus. So aka Mach 97. Mid-end, massively hypersonic. So Mach 194. And 15 seconds at a high ball is massively hypersonic plus Mach 389. And this is from his travel speed, obviously. Technically, I guess it's not always like that, but technically if you're flying with your own body, you should know, at least relative to the speed. So he has massively hypersonic plus reaction and combat speed. Now let's get to the other part. So basically, a sudden beam of energy erupted from the ocean, which struck Aiden midair. Aiden, stumbled into the water. He got out and he saw a giant spider with a distinctive M symbol. Confusion of Aiden's mind, but Aiden reacted instantly. He unleashed a barrage of laser beams from his eyes, striking the kaiju. The spider screamed in pain, but its retaliation came swiftly. And basically, the beam was making Aiden feel weak, right? So kind of like kryptonite, but Aiden's power was still growing. He didn't give up. So while Aiden was still fighting, the kaiju, Violet, Rose, and Joshua arrived, sawing Aiden, fighting the kaiju. Violet used an ice blast at the spider, immobilizing temporarily. Aiden says he's fine, and, it's saying that, I'm sorry, Joshua's suit, scanned the creature, and basically it's saying that the energy shares an origin with Aiden's abilities, which is because, you'll find out later, but it's because of Serum M. The spider gets out and, ambushes the 4 teenagers. They're all 13 years old. Aiden got back up and, channeled his energy into his hands, the potency of his attacks. And it was so strong that it sent the 150-foot creature into the ocean, flying. The spider shrieked and the massive legs lashed out. One pierced Aiden's torso. Aiden caused up blood, but obviously he can regenerate and adapt. But Joshua did not just like it. So he basically just used parts of the Luminium tech to erase it from existence. Later on, where they recovered and, they took each of the twins, the Fox twins, at their home, Aiden was feeling guilty and sad. And this is something important. If you read at the top, it says, his emotion mirrored his body's evolution. Surging with intensity, he knew he had gotten stronger, capable of defeating the spider in a single blow if it returned. But, obviously it won't come back. Later on to the part, Aiden carefully transferred solar energy in his hand and gave it to Violet to heal her injuries. And it actually worked. So Aiden can literally just heal people. So he can heal himself. Well, no shit, he has regeneration. But to other individuals. So there's that part. Oh yeah, here's another thing. If you read another part of this this paper right here, or chapter, it says, Violet says, while I was unconscious, my mind somehow linked with Joshua's suit. He explained your curiosity and the burden of your past. I think I might have something that could help. The enemy the gods fought, its energy feels connected to yours and that spider. So that's kind of crazy because, like I said, the same enemy fought literally almost all mythology. The only one didn't fight was God, like Yahweh. So now, chapter 7. Everyone, or more specifically the 4, get together. Rose basically explained that their parents and the other gods from other different mythologies fought this enemy. He became so powerful that the gods were forced to create separate dimensions just to escape it and prevent further destruction. And according to Rose, this enemy's energy feels similar to Aiden's and the spider, which is kind of insane. And it's named Obsidian. Apparently, Obsidian was a normal human once, but he lost his wife and children in a tragic accident. Desperate and broken, he pleaded with the gods to bring them back. Instead of compassion, the gods mocked him and refused. Not all the gods, but most. Obviously, Embera and Celestia, the mother of Violet and Rose, they weren't there, but they would not mock them. They probably would have done what Obsidian wanted. Well, now Obsidian's fueled by rage and grief. Him and some of his friends created a serum. It boosted his body and mind to unimaginable heights. With this power, Obsidian declared war on the gods. And Aiden's confused as he literally says, wait, he fought all the gods? The Chinese pantheon, the Greeks, the Norse, the Lovecraftian entities, and more? There are hundreds and not thousands of them. Rose explained that the serum was so potent that he managed to take them all on. In the end, the father delivered the finishing blow that defeated Obsidian. Obsidian even said he tried to take Violet and Rose away when they were babies, which I kind of explained why. But and the battle was clearly catastrophic. Universes, multiverses, omniverses, metaverses, anything you could think of were destroyed in the process. after that, the gods decided to part ways. Each created their own separate dimensions to prevent something like this from happening again. Still part of the same chapter. Basically, Aiden asks, like, is that kind of why Ember attacked me more than he attacked Joshua? Violet nodded, saying that his power far exceeds Obsidian. Was capable at his peak. You're a threat, or at least you seem like one to him. Aiden asked, if his power is stronger, why didn't I not end up destroying literally everything? Violet leaned back and said, it's about context. Now, this is kind of part of the power scaling. And, well, it is, if you read the fucking thing, basically, power evolves over time. Literally everything. From physical objects to dimensional energy, expands and grows more resilient. Essentially, like a rock from this time period could kill a dinosaur from the past. It's a paradox, but it's how reality works. Basically, it's in universal scaling. Reality adjusts to the power it contains. So, everything is growing over time. So, even humans and other creatures. So, it's not just Aiden and the others, which is kind of insane. So, I don't know if you want to scale that, but just letting you know, everyone just gets stronger over time, no matter what. Now, on to Terragoth. Ooh, I don't know if you guys are excited for this. Now, right off to the jump, Hiroshi Yamasaki said that Aiden usually takes out enemies with one punch, like his favorite anime character. I think we get the reference. But how could be so terrified with this one? He's like scratching the back of his head in frustration. Aiden isn't a normal boy. He's a boy with infinite power. For him to be worried. But Eiko, held her husband's hand reassuringly that they'll be fine. And there's another part where Terragoth defeated kaijus that were made in land by a demonic army on the island full of interdimensional energy and radiation. Now here's the thing. If you heard, he described Aiden as a boy with infinite power. Now, this isn't the most crazy thing on this, video, but basically infinite power is high universal. So right off the jump, Terragoth is on a high universal ranges. Now, so they suddenly get some energy, right? And they were being pulled by transcendent, power. Them and Terragoth, the aircraft too. They were literally yanked upward by impossibly strong gravitational force. They shot through the rift, past the Earth's atmosphere, beyond the solar systems, beyond the vast darkness of space, until they emerged in a completely different galaxy, a dead one. Terragoth warred in confusion and rage. Through his millions of years of existence, had taught him to control his power, even in the most bizarre situations. The humans in the aircraft were simply dumbfounded, their advanced equipment struggling to process their new surroundings. So right off the jump for this one, Terragoth is going to battle a kaiju that was literally born from the collapse of a previous universe, a anti-Big Bang monster. That off the jump is another universal levels, as, he literally came from a destroyed universe, right? Now, here's the thing. Terragoth literally adapted to the void of space and ate some cosmic energy. Literally, Hiroshi chimed in and said that the creature, Terragoth, has infinite adaptability and evolution. So, like Aiden, but, Terragoth has adaptation probably better. So, I don't know, he's like the Godzilla of the Ascendant Force, so you gotta really think about that. So the kaiju that Terragoth's gonna fight is named Sephiron. Basically, like I said, born from a previous universe, but it can literally ignore your gravity negating power. So it's quite crazy if you really think about it. And he has little micro black holes around him. And usually, like, the small ones, like how Godzilla tanked the Dimension Tide is, like, large planetary. I assumed, and, why do I say I assume? I made the fucking book. Like, the black hole isn't as big as normal ones, but it isn't super small either. So, like, in those large planetary to the maybe dwarf star level ranges. It really depends how big you picture the black holes, but I don't say it's like how big like normal black holes are. So think about that. And Sephiron can talk, but he didn't talk like how we talk, but like it came from the communication systems, basically saying that he'll come after Joshua and Aiden after he takes the stronger specimen of your homeworld, aka Terragoth. So well, Terragoth is stronger than Aiden and Joshua. Yeah. So Sephiron literally spread its galaxy expanding wings and flew at Terragoth with impossible speed. I guess like infinite speed. I mean, you could say it's easily MFTL since he literally destroyed like a galaxy or like took energy from galaxies, so like MFTL like speeds. The Earth Titan responded like, swinging his massive tail, but Sephiron dodged it and unleashed a beam of pure anti-energy, which was literally designed to erase matter and energy from existence. It literally struck Terragoth head on, and it gave forth a war of pain and fury that shook the fabric of reality. But Terragoth isn't weak, so despite the overwhelming the overwhelming agony of being hit by this existing erasing energy, Terragoth literally grabbed the beam like it's fucking Dragon Ball and just yeet it at Sephiron. I mean, was Sephiron hurt? Absolutely, but he can take his own attacks. Now, here's the thing I want to tell you. That Sephiron is based on Space Godzilla and Void Ghidorah, which both of them actually has supergravity. And does he have the same thing? Absolutely. He basically has it. But it's not just supergravity. He has something called metagravitas. So let me first explain the supergravity first, and then I'll, give you the dessert. So supergravity literally has 4th dimension to 11 dimensions. So, yeah. So, metagravitas, I made the, ability so you don't hear from anywhere, I pretty sure. Unless me and someone have a similar idea for a name. I had to explain it to, ChatGPT, and I asked it to, make a list so it could explain better. So that's why you have it like that. So basically, just read all of this and you'll understand. So that's gravirepression, conceptual weight, chronographic collapse, dimensional sink, attractive dominion, causality drain, anti-ascension field, fate anchoring, soul gravity, and narrative weight. And you got to really think about this. Especially on like anti-ascension field and narrative weight, and I guess and everything else, because they're broken as fuck. You have to like get good narrative busters to fight against this, like Terragoth, for example. So basically, narrative weight: the more central you are to the story, the harder you'll fall. Now, granted, Terragoth is important to the story, obviously, but he's not like the main character like Aiden, so he didn't feel it as much, but that doesn't mean he wasn't affected by it. He was affected by it, as he was kind of important to the story. But Terragoth is that guy, and fights back against this. Sephiron and Terragoth just continued fighting and fighting. Sephiron decided to use multiple black holes using supergravity and metagravitas to crush Terragoth. The Earth Titan was, warring in agony, most than he ever felt. But Terragoth's struggle wasn't about survival, it was about evolution. Pain fueled his fire, and fire ignited his strength. As both creatures were infinitely adapting and evolving throughout the fight, Terragoth's greater battle experience and faster power growth gave him the edge. So Terragoth broke free from these black holes, and there were normal black holes. He absorbed their energy, along with the void attacks, and with the war that echoed across dimensions, he unleashed a blast of primordial nuclear fire, and enhanced by the cosmic energies he'd absorbed. That literally hit Sephiron with such a force that tore a hole in the fabric of the universe itself. Wow. So funny. Like, really, really fucking funny. Now, as the, because there was a hole in the universe, Sephiroth got sucked in. He didn't die, but he got sucked into it. And Terragon was unaffected, but the aircraft, where, the Yamazakis were in, one of the soldiers screamed in panic, like, Hiroshi, get Aiden here, please. But Aiden wasn't needed at all. Terragov, he isn't evil. He's just confused. He woke up into the current world. So he grabbed the aircraft in his master claw, and with his free hand, he did something that's kind of funny. He grabbed the edges of the universal tear, like it was a ripped paper, and began pulling it closed. It's quite comical. It's like similar to a cartoon show about a mysterious talking bunny, or a blue koala-like alien experiment, fixing the reality the accident had broken. Basically, he has some level of toon force. So, quite funny. So, Damien, this is in chapter 8, is fighting this executioner hired by and amped with Serum M by Malvora, named Vortex. The leader had, enhanced him with Serum M and weapons with beyond Damon's comprehension, or that's what so he thinks. Now, here's a feat here says Victor's explosion was meant to obliterate half the planet and purge the serum from your system. But so they're basically, it's like a half planetary feat. So like, I don't know if that should be like Molly-Con or something like that. I don't know. But just it would be threatening the planet itself. And you're probably, well, what about the Malvora systems? Like, where the hell are they? They're the core of the planet, or like part of it, but most of it, it's not on Earth. It's like not on Earth. It's like after Aiden escaped, people, Malvora and the others were not worried, but like didn't want any problems, so they took all the stuff into a multiverse they made by themselves. Yeah, a multiverse they literally made. Yeah, out of the, normal parts of the cosmology. So that's why it's easy to find them. Or not, it's not easy to find Malvora people. They would have found it a long time ago if they were still on Earth. So, back on it. Now, he is going to be fighting this dude, right? And so Vortex starts explaining his abilities, which is kind of stupid, but he was a bit on an egotistical level, a dumb one, basically. So he's explained that these plasma disruptors blades were forged from the intergalactic alloy specific to design to break down Serum M at a molecular level. Anything without Serum M, it would shred them on a conceptual level. And Damien's just annoyed and just tell him to shut up. And then he clashed, and it causes tremors that shook the entire planet. Streets cracked like eggshells, forgive me. Buildings swayed dangerously, and panicked citizens ran for cover. And, of course, Aiden felt the tremors, but shit, it's literally shaking the planet. So Aiden walks out, and no one's paying attention because they're worried about their own survival. So what Aiden did was, went around an area that no one's really paying attention to. He stomped his foot down, and it sends out a perfectly calibrated counterforce that neutralized the seismic disturbances. So basically, he stopped a planetary earthquake. So just think about that. Aiden did that casually. And Aiden asks Violet in a flirtatious way to, send out the blue mist trick. So, yeah. And while the battle is still happening, just instead of planetary shakings, Aiden reached in his pocket. Oh my god. And he told Vortex to catch it. And he pulls out a fucking massive vehicle and it hits Vortex square in the chest. Oh my gosh. And I'm a fucking laugh. If you guys wonder what this is based on, I got you, bro.
Hey, Grover, catch!
Just letting you know that, Ava reunites with Aiden, kinda. And well, also Damien does reunite with Aiden too, and Andrew and Sophia introduce themselves to Violet, Rose, and the others. So just letting you know, this is the end of the chapters of chapter 8. So here is something special. So they're rearranging rooms and stuff using aluminum tech and metal. I almost said nth metal. To make more space because it can shape however you want it with your imagination. And Sophia asked if they are doing specimens like how Mavora does, but Joshua's obvious says no, just studying, making weapons and stuff. Now here's the thing. So they studied the cosmology and they found out that even fictional worlds aren't just concepts, they also exist as actual physical realms within their own atomic structures and laws of physics. So technically, whatever we see in our world, they also see it too. So you'll see like references and what I said. Yeah, there's so much. And another part is that so there was this interesting case of an entity who managed to transcend his own narrative framework, essentially erasing the concept of gods, paradoxes, and metaphysical laws within his realm. He attempted to cross into their world once, but Aiden just swapped him away, like how someone would swap away a knowing insect. And another part is that there is a demon coming out of one of the other books saying that I'm the dark angel of death. My grand chaos will reign supreme across all. But he got interrupted as Aiden just punched him in the face, like annoyed, and he tells him to shut up and that he literally absorbed energy of a Holy Spirit when he was in his diapers, when he was getting baptized. So he kind of has Holy Spirit as a part of him. So it's interesting. So just to let you know, Dr. Mahanan, erasing people from existence or erasing them is not going to be easy. As literally Joshua asks Andrew and Sophia, your sister mentioned something fascinating earlier about you being erased from existence as infants across all timelines. And yet you stand, not just existing, but evolved beyond the original parameters. Is that accurate? And Andrew said, yeah, that's a short version. And literally they're trying to go thorough about it, wipe our attributes, bypass our core definitions, eliminate everything that made us who we were, but then count our capacity to adapt. I mean, they already knew that, but the point was that they're trying to make Andrew and the others stronger, so erasing them from existence won't work. So that was the point of it. So obviously, I mean, Andrew doesn't know exactly everything. That's in his perspective. So yeah. So Joshua takes everyone to an infinite universe that he made, and it's infinite in size, and it's no other life forms there. It's just made specifically for training. It would have been too intense, and Joshua's aware that everyone else besides him are very strong, so that's why they took him in this dimension. And now they started fighting, and obviously Joshua's with this aluminium suit because physically he doesn't really stand a chance. So he has aluminium tech, but he did not use the Celeste token. So just to let you know about that. And while they were all fighting, they all were increasing. Like, as you see, their power levels increasing exponentially with every passing second. And energy blasts carved paths through reality itself. Physical laws bent and broke around them as they pushed their abilities to new limits. They're limitless, but you get what they mean, right? The very fabric of dimension warped under the pressure of the combat. And so everyone's skills, their speed, their intelligence, all of that are increasing. But Joshua knows that the universe would be destroyed along with other parts that they might know or not. So Joshua tells him to stop and, get back to the home world. Damien mentions that magic is just another system to overcome, to adapt. So, take that, Wanda. Like I mentioned earlier, different emotions could put out different, parallels. So like they're connected to, like powers are connected to emotional states. And yeah, you can read this comment here. So the next day, well, Malvora found out where the location where Aiden and the others are. And they ambushed them. But Andrew quickly got up and just beat the hell out of the Malvora leader named Obsidian. I told you about him earlier. And Andrew's literally like overpowering him, dude. And and he all he did was just send him out of the city and across Japan. So BFR. And obviously Andrew will come back. So literally he told one of the robots that had great intelligence to get M25 and M28, which is Rose and I'm sorry, not Rose, Ava and Sophia. And obviously see it says that Machina has the power of 9 billion exploding universes. And it has equal other powered machines to grab Ava, Violet, Rose, and Sophia. And the robots are struggling, but they got overpowered still. So Obsidian succeeds of taking the girls and taking them to the Malvor multiverse. Aiden doesn't like it at all, and he's getting worried and getting angry. And Andrew, despite being angry himself, he calms down because Sophia and Ava and Damien helps Andrew with the emotional outburst he had when they were little. So he could have been like Hulk, kind of. And hold on just a second. So Joshua tried to scan the cosmologies, or at least the ones they know, and apparently they can't find it, right? Aiden gets more worried, but then he suddenly hears a voice. And it was a man of holiness, aka the Holy Spirit, that Aiden absorbed when he was little. Now, don't worry, he didn't absorb all of the Holy Spirit, just a part of it. And the Holy Spirit will be omnipresent around. It'll be in people who believes in Jesus Christ. So don't worry about that. And basically, the Holy Spirit tells him that he will find Violet and the others, as Jesus and God will guide him. And Aiden calmed down and build up faith. So he looked at a demolished building, right? And he walked towards it. Damien knows what he was doing because he has something similar to that edit. And, well, edit is something different. Like, it's like I guess like a last resort thing. Like, his body would develop something, like, out of the pocket. Like, something that it wouldn't usually do. But Aiden, he has something called imagination, and I think we all would get what that is. And so what Aiden did was he literally punched through several multiverses and opened a portal to a dark planet where all Mavora was, which actually worked. So basically, and this is in chapter 10, where basically they are looking for where the girls are in the Mavora multiverse, a part of it. And basically, Damien wondered why Josh was scanning, saying about what the multiverse of Malvora is, and says all types. So Aiden Joshua explains that, all the types of a multiverse. And so type 4 multiverse exists, right? And so it depends how you scale the type 4 multiverse. Like, I keep hearing like people saying, like, some people say, like, on Reddit, like, it scales to universal without context. So I guess in his case, a type 4 multiverse, and there's like infinite amount of type multiverse, because I said there's infinite multiverses, right? And I guess there's infinite universal multiverses. And some assume like high hyperversal, infinite dimensional structures, and I guess one layer would be 1A and infinite above, and again, and it would be 1A plus. I don't know. Like, people tell me, what do you think a type 4 multiverse scale? I guess it depends, I guess. And, some say it's even boundless and stuff, so I guess it really depends where you think about it, I guess. Let me know. And Joshua explains that there's quilted multiverses that exist, like in every part, inflationary multiverse, the brain multiverse, and other types. So, an exhilarating multiverse. So, again, let me know where you think that scales. Now to the part that I actually created. Well, part of it. I had to check out like how DC, Marvel, and other cosmologies work. So to give me a general idea. So basically, there's a quantum multiverse that literally has infinite Hilbert space, which is infinite dimensional, and where basically every possible quantum outcome creates a new branch of reality. He's talking about the metaphorical multiverse, but still part of it, obviously. And then, well, apparently it's a part of a simulated multiverse, Malvora, and where it's also connected to Ultimate Assemble, the mathematical multiverse that encompasses all possible mathematical structures and their physical manifestations. And hold on a second. Because the theories that Joshua just explained are true, but they barely scratch the surface of the complexity we're dealing with. I'm sorry, I guess it was still part of the theories that we heard of. Forgive me, guys. But basically, Terra 322, that's where Aiden and the other stuff, like how Marvel Comics 616, okay? And basically, Joshua says that he explained the theories are true, but they barely scratch the surface of complexity we're dealing with. Even our whole multiverse, Terra 332, incorporates all aspects of these types while existing within a larger framework. Okay? And he activated a holographic display from his quantum scanner. Each universe in our multiverse is conceptually infinite in size at minimum. They have mathematical structures with infinite potential, separated by space-time barriers that we've learned to traverse. Now here's the mind-bending part. Every action, no matter how much significant or insignificant, can generate branches of possible realities. Yeah, like similar to, Marvel. Just separate from the original universe Terra 3D2. Infinite continuums of possible alternate worlds diverge at critical points in history. There could be a universe where Marvel will never come into existence, or perhaps where the King of Monsters holds dominion. So I guess that's a Godzilla upscale. I guess that's what you think. That's supposed to be Godzilla, but I'm not saying I control Godzilla, but it's an infinite reality. So think about that. So now, continuing, at the heart of each universe lies what we call the thousandth dimensional spectrum. It isn't just about spatial dimension, it's about layers of reality itself. Material planes point to the very composition of space and time, extending to planes that are virtually inaccessible, where stories and universes exist at the most fundamental physical level possible. It's a framework encompassing all known dimensions and realities with transfinite universes, existing into infinite dimensions. I keep misspelling it. I was meant to say trans-infinite, just to let you know. And now, where each universe's planes contain a set of narratives that transcend creation itself. The stories of all mythology do exist, which means we have accounted for the cosmology of each of those ancient stories. The Norse world tree, Yggdrasil, I think that's how I say it. The Chinese concept of heaven and earth, and original dream time. They're all real and interconnected within this vast framework. Even the theories of different types of multiverses are true. And then, Aiden gets annoyed that we have higher and infinite transcendental dimensions that are infinitely higher and infinitely above predecessors, blah, blah, blah. So basically, four-dimensional constructs are 4 times infinitely higher than our universe and multiverse. Plus, everything infinitely evolves and expands to the point where a pebble could possess more power than an asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs. And he gets annoyed and shouts at Joshua. So Malboro's random ass soldiers spotted them and tried to take them down. And Joshua notes that they're drawing power from multiple dimensional layers simultaneously. But Andrew and the others, was adapting and evolving to counter each new threat. Gamma radiation erupted from his mouth and eyes in concentrated beams. And he literally mocks the injured soldiers. And Machina, talks to Andrew and says, "You will stop this and follow us. We're putting good use to your sipser, and you'll help you too." And this is where it pisses off Andrew so much. And he literally one-shots Machina. which again I stated, it's 999 billion exploding universes. Damien and Joshua muttered in universes, oh boy. And yeah, like I said, emotional parts can literally get people with serum M stronger. Depends on who it is. So yeah. So Aiden found out where Obsidian is and where the girls are because they're in the same room. And Obsidian is using technology to absorb cosmic and serum M energies from the girls. Don't worry, the serum M doesn't leave the Ava and Sophia's body. It just absorbs like the energy output, so like absorbing energy, basically. You get what I mean. And it's amping up Obsidian, which in the beginning he kind of dragged or he punched Aiden so hard. It sent, hold on a second. It was like an attack that struck through multiple layers of reality. In simultaneously, the impact sending the young hero crashing through not just the building's wall, but several layers of dimensional barriers before he emerged into the open air beyond. Now, it only left Aiden stunned. Now, the reason why he's able to literally just be stunned and not, like, knock the hell out, because remember earlier he just got so angry that he was getting stronger. So, there's that. That's why Aiden is literally just got stronger. Like, again, emotions make them stronger. Depends on what type of emotion it is. Aiden gets back up, and then, hold on just a second. Let me read through this. He locked onto his target and launched himself back at Obsidian. The collision created more than just a thunderous shockwave. It was literally a reality warping event, that temporary fusion of parallel timelines into immediate vicinity. When the quantum dust settled, it became clear that they were evenly matched, each fire drawing power from sources that transcended conventional understanding of energy and matter. Obsidian literally told him that it was a good blow. So, it really affected him. So, Obsidian literally has something else, like it's a device of impossible engineering, right? And its interior containing miniature universes that powered its devastating effects. It could fire concentrated gravitational beams that increases in power infinitely with each shot. The energy drawn from the collapse and creation of pocket universes with its mechanism. So it can literally just destruct gravitational vortices, capable of crushing enemies under pressure, equivalent to infinite collapsing universes. So just think about that for a second. Now, Aiden is dodging because of his enhanced reflexes and sixth sense, but he did get hit with some of them, but he still gets back up, right? And he shoots his laser vision, and it strikes Obsidian across multiple parallel realities simultaneously. So they're literally just fighting, and it's affecting these infinite universes. And of course, it's just part of the Malvora multiverse, so it's not out of it. So just that's why Aiden isn't as holding back, but he still is, just to let you know. But Aiden is not going to be like Superman, where he holds back so much even though he doesn't need to. Aiden is very smart. So Aiden was prepared to finish the blow, the final blow, that would have collapsed Obsidian's quantum waveform. But the villain revealed his trump card, the Quantum Gauntlet. The device's existence violated several fundamental laws of reality. Its surface crawling with mathematical equations that rewrote the local laws of physics. Its capabilities were staggering, creating spatial anomalies that could obliterate the enemies by removing them from the timeline entirely, manipulating, distorting the very physics of their multiverse through direct manipulation of universal constants. So it's literally just transcending the Malvora multiverse. And still, Aiden and Obsidian are still relative. So, yeah. So Monica, Joshua's mother, tells Joshua through the speakers of the suit that they got backup, which is the Unbreakables, my friend's my Greek friend's characters, and I guess now he kind of retconned them in a way, or just made a new team. So I guess he lets me have it now. I think. I don't know. I might not use them a lot. And Terragoth. Terragoth was completely understanding, and that he knows that Malvora is a big problem. So he goes in with the Unbreakables. So yeah, and so let me just tell you what each of the characters that my Greek friend made, Hulk Souls Fiction, and yeah. So I think let me find the first one first. The leader Irini, I think that's how I say it, is known across no multiple dimensions as Nemesis. Stood 5'3" tall, yes, kind of short, with a fit yet slender build that highlighted over her true power. Did I say fucking him? I'm so sorry. Her deep brown skin seemed to absorb alien energy from the environment, while her braided black hair adorned with beads that contain compressed universes, honored both her Greek and African ancestry. Her storm-themed suit wasn't merely clothing, but an extension of her power. The cape moving with an otherworldly grace as a manipulated probability fields around her. Well, this was mostly because they were in the Malvora multiverse, so it's very fucking different than a normal multiverse, at least for the cosmology. So yeah. Then there's Angela, the Almighty, wielded the blue sword, the most powerful weapon. The sword hummed with frequencies that could never sever the bonds between realities. It's based on like Thor. Like he said, everyone who is worthy or like has great will can hold it, basically. And Nicholas underwent a transformation that defied conventional physics. Oh yeah, this is I think the one that's based on the Incredible Hulk. His name is the Powerful. His blue skin and energy signature suggested that he had no finite element inside. The new air around him crackled with potential energy, equivalent to the birth of new universes, which I guess is consistent because it's based on the fucking Hulk. And now Thordorus, the Devastator, took a swing from his flask of magic juice, a liquid that contained the distilled essence of infinite possibilities. His transformation wasn't into a green energy radiating giant wasn't just physical. No, I don't think this is based on Hulk. I don't know. I'm picturing him like plant-like for some reason. Ampro deities, I think that's how I say it. Forgive me if I say it wrong. Cause a local reality to reconfigure itself around her. Her enchanted weapons existed in a state of quantum superstition until the moment they struck. The spectral samurai Tsuyukuyomi no Mikori. I'm so used to fucking Japanese words. I don't know if I got that right, but let me know. Moved like a ghost through multiple dimensions. Now Tenno the God Killer was covered in divine slaying tattoos that weren't just decorations, but they were complex mathematical formulas. Yeah, they're fucking busted as shit. That's how he fucking wanted them. So yeah. So basically now it's an all-out war. It's like fucking Avengers Endgame, but I guess on a smaller scale, kind of, because it wasn't as much big armies. It doesn't matter. So basically, Malvora has their own kaijus that's like insectoids. So just think about that. But it doesn't matter to Terragoth. He literally fought Sepharion, who I could say is more powerful. I generally believe. I mean, I created fucking characters. I believe that Sepharion is more of a threat than Obsidian, even with the weapons he was using against Aiden. Because like I said, Terragoth is more depicted stronger than Aiden. Like, Terragoth in this universe is like the Ascendant Forces figure of Godzilla in a way, whilst Aiden is like his universe's Superman. And let's take a look what happened in the DC crossover with Godzilla and Superman. Oh boy. Now back to this. So obviously, Terragoth is considered one of the most formidable beings in any universe. And he literally ambushed two of the larger insectoid kaijus with devastating efficiency. And the powerful, who literally just lived up to his name, as he launched himself into the fray, he His passive form leaves trails of crystallized blue energy in his wake. His fists, when connected to one of the larger insectoid kaiju, created a local time dilation effect that forced the creature to experience good several millennia of entropy in the span of a single second. So it's really, really bad. And obviously he's based on Hulk, like I said, and that's why he literally says, "It's good day for smashing." They'll just, yeah. I mean, you can see and read it through there. Their movements affect space time and part of the multiverse as well. Like the battles and the abilities are so great. Like the war is so much. The Malvor multiverse is destroying. It's being destroyed. Not all of it, but kind of like how the Worldbreaker Hulk and Red She-Hulk were destroying the Dark Dimension, but it wasn't all of it in a one blow. So it's like that. So, I'm just, yeah, they're just, you could just read all that for yourselves. And Ador and Tenno had worked their way to the Gatamian units holding the captured girls, so they're trying to free the girls. And the God Killer's Tantu's impulse with ancient power as he systematically dismantled the quantum locks that held the prison together. So they're trying to break out. And now we get to one of my best friends on my TikTok channel, Danny, and I mentioned him earlier in the beginning of the video. I'm finally getting to him. I was being very fucking patient. Now, they were captured by Malvora, and that's why they're in containment systems. And Andrew and Tam seeing the battle, so he wanted to get out. He tried to get out earlier, but his determination just gotten stronger, which made him stronger. So he just gotten angry and frustrated, so he easily punched out of the containment systems. And Tam saw Danny's movement, and he just headbutted out of there. So Danny tried to help saving the girls, helping with the part of the Unbreakables. But unfortunately, what Danny accidentally did, he broke one of the energy feeder pipes, and it went haywire. The girl screamed the pain, and all the energy was forcibly channeled into Obsidian, which was amplifying his power more than anything he had anticipated. So it just made Obsidian 100 times stronger. So I just call him Divine Obsidian in this case. And he just sent a wave of force that scattered all the heroes by, just like in Cosmic Wind, right? The powerful, the Hulk, character literally, punched him, and it staggered the villain, but it still didn't do much. Obsidian literally just shot an antimatter blast that sent the powerful flying, and it damaged the powerful a lot. But Terragoth, rose from the aftermath of the explosion, when all the energy went into Obsidian and made a big explosion. And the creature's death stare knocked onto Obsidian, and they were going to fight, but then suddenly Andrew and Aiden executed a perfectly timed dropkick. And it stunned the villain. And this is how I was picturing Terragoth looking at Obsidian. So, Aiden and Andrew engaged directly against Obsidian. Even though Obsidian was kind of still superior, the two fighters were basically catching up. Their combat and abilities were evolving moment by moment. And the battle took another turn where Danny managed to grab Obsidian in a full Nelson and tried to tell Andrew and Aiden to, land in hits. But then suddenly across the battlefield, Tam literally ran up to headbutt Obsidian's midsection. It kind of damaged him. Well, I can't say damage, but the guy felt it. The villain's response was literally just a burst of power that sent everyone except Terragoth flying. Damien decided to use like channels his energy into a machete and literally create a pocket realm using some hand gestures to perform a perfect precision, literally summoning infinite amount of machetes that attack Obsidian from all directions, and the assault culminated into into a machete the size of Terragon, who is 550 feet by the way, and literally managed to affect the power of the villain, even though not as much as they hoped. And yes, it's based on Sukuna's like domain expansion. I kinda, and that's what my nephew Damon said. So just picture that, I guess. Terragoth literally just tail swiped Obsidian, divine Obsidian, and it damaged him like a lot. So literally driven him, Obsidian, to desperation and used all of his power for one final attack. Literally fucking like a Gallic beam. And the heroes, joined Terragoth beam, like the... Okay, let me just read it. So basically, Obsidian shot the beam to unmake reality itself, but Terragoth met it with his own primordial beam, and it was literally threatening to tear apart all existence. The heroes joined the power to Terragoth, creating a combined beam that held Obsidian's attack at bay. Joshua transformed into a Celestia token fate finally, and is now one with the Malvora multiverse. Andrew's voice carried all across the battlefield, literally saying that they can get up, and even if they had to do it for eternity. So literally all their stamina is infinite. I mean, instead of Joshua's, I guess, but since he's one with the multiverse of Malvora, it is now. But even though he can't use it for a long time, so I'm just saying that in Celestia Token, depends what it is, his stamina isn't limited, even though he can't use it for a long time because his power. You get what I mean? Whatever, man. But yeah. Now the thing is, the next part. I don't know if you guys expected, but obviously I do. But just to let you know, Danny's powers is based on Optimus Prime's, and if you read the book, but if you didn't, Luminium Tech, some part of it goes into not Joshua, Danny's body, and he has a mask that's kind of similar to Optimus Prime's mouth cover part. So just letting you know. And he has a battle axe. So, yeah. What does Town get? Nothing for, Luminium. So, so the Holy Spirit and, God rewarded Aiden with a divine transformation that transcended anything they had seen before. His hair blazed with golden light. His iris turned brilliant blue. From hazel to brilliant blue, and holy power radiated from his form. Basically, Aiden asked for a prayer, and it's like how Samson felt when God gave him strength when he needed it. And he simply just stopped the energy from Obsidian that literally was threatening reality itself. So, yeah. Even Terragoth, a being who had witnessed the birth and death of primordial creatures, so visible shocked to this display of divine power. The Kaiju's massive force shifted slightly, acknowledging a force that transcended even its own considerable might, unless he adapted and got angry enough. So Terragoth can get stronger than Aiden, maybe in his divine state, but then Terragoth has his own power amps, but it wasn't needed for him in this case. Obsidian in his divine form was so pissed that he wants to steal the energy from Aiden. So that's what he literally was going to do. But some powers just cannot be stolen. So Aiden's counter was simply just simple. A simple smack that sent Obsidian across the entire breadth of the Malvora multiverse. Right? And it would carry more force than the villain had ever experienced. Secondly to only Terragon's casual slap. So I guess now Aiden and Terragoth are similar in power. Now, the thing is, when Obsidian finally managed to hold his involuntary journey, he literally Aiden appeared before him. And so what did Aiden do exactly? And Obsidian sphere manifested as a desperate assault. Every ounce of his considerable power channeled into a beam that should have been capable of unmaking existence itself. But yet, it was ceased to be damaging him. Like Aiden negated because of the authority higher than all laws, literally God. So Aiden raised his hand and summoned holy fire, not destruction flames of Mortal Kombat, but the puring blaze of divine correction. So literally the flames just stripped away Obsidian's power. And Aiden said and explained that he negated his powers and that he won't have the ability to use him for a while unless he's learned to change his ways. And that he literally says that he knows what happened to Obsidian's family. Aiden feels sorry for that, but he acknowledges that his biological family's dead because of Obsidian, but he's not going to kill him, right? So he's Superman in a way. But Aiden literally sent him to a prison realm where he would never get out unless he changes his ways. And he even wants Obsidian to see his family in the dreams. So he's kind of he's a good person, literally. And I guess the prison realm will be similar to the Phantom Zone. I just need to figure out a name for it, but yeah. So now we're on to chapter 12. And the context and why you're seeing Zeus literally is because after the battle, everyone went home, captured all the Malvora people, or almost all Malvora people. And they're just cleaning up. And then, Rose and Violet tells everyone else that the main gods of the Chinese, the Norse, and the Greek are appeared. So just letting you know. And, they're acknowledging and thanking Aiden to defeating the enemy that sort of scared them, or at least, worrying for him. And even Zeus even thinks that the term mortal is an adequate term for someone who achieved what Aiden did, and even asks how the power works. Aiden generally doesn't care if he's called mortal or not, and the power that he used, it was a divine form that he received at baptism. And my ability to absorb enemy powers, I do not know why, but I'm pissed at myself for this. I meant to say energy powers literally interact with the Holy Spirit. It's just a little mistake. But God God answered Aiden's prayers and gave him the divine form. And now Hercules told him or asked Aiden like Samson's strength, and Aiden's like, exactly. Wait, you knew him? And Guanin, it's a woman from the Chinese mythology. He says, we have knowledge of many holy men and women throughout history. The Nazarene, aka Jesus himself, is known to us. His compassion and wisdom are remarkable. So they just know Jesus Christ. And Thor is saying, words and stories are well and good, but I prefer more direct tests. He held out Mjolnir, the legendary hammer, and says, care to try your hand, young warrior? Now, I know people are going to say, is Aiden worthy? Well, no shit, he literally has Holy Spirit within him. But obviously, people should know that it was only a Marvel thing for anyone to be worthy. But Thor in Norse mythology is just very fucking heavy. And how heavy exact, I'm not sure in the actual mythology. So I added a weight size. And you'll see in a minute. And you guys will be really fucking shocking. So Aiden wasn't so sure, but he just lifted the hammer. So, and Aiden wrapped around his fingers around Mjolnir's handle. The mental fat warmed to his touch, throwing a power that seemed to be resonant with his own divine gifts. Thor released his grip, and everyone's amazement, perhaps except Thor's, the hammer remains steady in Aiden's grasps. And Poseidon lets out a little whistle that sounds like waves crashing through ancient cliffs. By the seas! That hammer contains the weight of the 9 realms, yet you hold it easily as a mortal tool. Your victory over obsidian becomes less surprising by the moment, young one. Ava's all like happy and not egotistical, but like confident. Not for herself, but like for her brother. And as Aiden returned Mjolnir to Thor, Hermes floated around, and the messenger's gone sandals beat a gentle with him to the air as he huddled. You've done us all a great service by removing the shadow of obsidian from our thoughts. Perhaps you'll care to join us for a feast in our realm. It's the least we can offer in return. Now, Andrew's like, brilliant idea, mate. Saying, why don't we get some modern fare to share? I'd love to see how the gods react to fizzy drinks, mate. Or pop, as you Nebraskans call it. Soda, posy... Posy. Soda, pop, fizzy drinks. Different names for the same thing, it said. And it went to the realm where literally every god and goddesses, and other important figures of each mythology were literally just hanging out. Like Egyptian gods mingle with the Celtic deities, Anubis deep in conversation with Morrigan about nature of death and transformation, while Thought and Brigid compared notes on wisdom and inspiration. Japanese calmly chatted with Native American spirit beings. So, like I told you, every mythology is canon to this, story. During the initial moments of integration between the mortal and divine guest, Aiden took a quiet moment to center himself. Finding a relative peaceful spot near a fountain that flowed with what looked like a liquid starlight, he offered a heartfelt prayer of thanks for his incredible life, for his adopted family that showed him unconditional love, and most importantly for his biological family watching from heaven. The thought of them looking down on him in this moment, seeing him surrounded by divine beings yet remaining true to his faith, brought a warm smile to his face. If it weren't for his team and the Holy Spirit, the ending would have been completely different. Well, maybe. I shouldn't have put that there, but that's what he thinks. Even though Terragoth is literally there and fought and defeated a much stronger being, Sepharion. So Terragoth would have been there. But he knew that there was more to his life. The adventures and journeys that he and his team would endure. Even if the threat was as strong or stronger than Obsidian, his team was truly the Ascendant Force. I thank y'all for watching this video and being patient, even though it's like an hour, almost 2 hours long. So I really appreciate you guys listening to this, if you have. And if you want to read the book yourself, it's on Amazon, literally called The Ascendant Force. So I really hope you guys like this video, and I appreciate your love and support. I really appreciate it. And I really hope you guys will like it. And if you guys are in America, you can literally buy this on Amazon. If you guys are out of the country, I also ran this story on Wattpad. Just search up The Ascendant Force and you'll find it. So you guys can just read it nonetheless if you guys wanted to. So I just really hope you guys buy the book if you're in America. Now to the conclusions. So Midball, like for Aiden, and I guess other characters should be relative to him, is like mountain level because he's a baby. He can survive Sarabombas, multiple. Midball, I guess planetary to galaxy to universal, based on like some implications of like what Joshua did, defeating a Siren Queen who has 18.5 Yodafo, galaxy level, and statements of infinite power, high universal, and high ends, universal, okay? As possibly depending on how you scale the Type 4 multiverse, so like outer, like high hyper, to outer, to high outer, to boundless. So another character should be scale relative, and for Terragoth, God, to be above. So yeah, they're very powerful. So depending how you scale the Type 4 multiverse, Aiden could be Superman and Hulk.
and maybe others. So that's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments.